A very warm welcome to you. The case against rape-accused pastor Timothy Omotoso and his two co-accused, Zuki Swasito and Lusanda Sulani, continues at the Gqeberha High Court on Monday. In February, Omotoso and his two co-accused notched up a partial victory when presiding judge Emish Skuman ordered that special entries be made in their court file. Omotoso and his co-accused Zuki Swasito and Lusanda Sulani face 32 charges, including rape, racketeering, human trafficking and assault. In February, Judge Emish Skuman ordered that special entries be made in Omotoso and his two co-accused court files. The judge granted only 3 of the 7 irregularities that the defense believes have been committed on the part of the state. The 3 entries are that the former state prosecutor, Advocate Nceba Ntelwa, had proposed to his superiors that 3 state witnesses committed perjury. The failure of all advocates involved to disclose contradictions in witness testimony, and the fact that Ntelwa's superiors allowed him to continue to prosecute the case despite his questionable conduct. To give us a bit more insight into this matter, we're now joined by Pastor Solomon Izang, a Christian activist and journalist who has been closely monitoring this matter. Pastor Solomon, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. I mean, one would even begin by saying that this matter has been dragging on now for so long. Will we finally see a finality in this matter?
Yes, thanks for inviting me, Mbali. I think it's been dragging for a very long time, since April 2017. So we're looking at, 7 years right now. And since then, the matter has been dragging one after the other. And I feel Pastor Timothy Omotoso himself never really wanted to get to a place where there is a proper trial because of this whole charges against him that would definitely, I believe, put him in prison for a very long time. So he spent 7 years in prison already, awaiting trial. And so now he's going to go on, and he has looked all around and tried to get the case dismissed, one delay after another delay, changing his advocates and questioning the credibility of the state witnesses and also the prosecutors. And I feel all of that was just a delay tactics. But I'm glad we've finally seen, we've now finally got here where we're going to experience the trial in 2 weeks and hopefully get a judgment.
And you've been closely monitoring this case, and one would even ask and say, what would you say has stood out so far in the 7 years we've heard this trial get underway?
I think one of the things that have stood out is just the resilience of some of the victims. I've spoken to some of them. I know some of them personally through this journey. Though some of them have decided to just move on with life, but I think I would really applaud their resilience in just insisting and staying on the course and seeing judgment and justice coming to them and also to other women who are not able to speak. And I think it's a very good attribute that we can pick. And also, I must somehow commend also Omotoso. I think he got to a place where he felt he was very powerful and very connected. He never imagined this could happen to him. He was living in a world that is totally different from reality. And the atrocities that he has committed would be a great example. The justice, hopefully, would be a great example for other pastors or prophets or men of God that are in this kind of lifestyle. Because I have dealt with them quite a lot, and there are quite a few of them that are in this kind of lifestyle. And I must also commend the states that never really gave up with all the delay tactics and all the obstructions that have come from Omotoso's side. His church members coming to court every time and supporting him and all that kind of thing, and never really gave up. And I think for me, that's what justice is really all about.
And of course, I mean, these atrocities he has allegedly committed, and one would say that even using the church and also, of course, hiding behind the word of religion. How would you say this has impacted religious leaders in this regard?
I think, Bali, at the end of this all, when justice, comes forward and he is sentenced, hopefully, this would send a really strong message to a lot of abusers who are hiding behind the cloth, hiding behind the pulpit, using the church as a platform to take advantage of women, to take advantage of people financially. Because unfortunately, in the last 5-10 years, there's been quite a lot of such so-called men of God, false prophets, charlatans, who've been really using that and with that cover up of scriptures and church, and they get away with it. Church is supposed to be a safe haven for women, but it has become almost like a place where women are being abused. And hopefully this is really going to send a strong signal saying no matter how powerful you are, no matter how connected you think you are, no matter how much money you think you have, how many followers or how anointed you are, once you break the law, once you abuse women, be aware that justice, the police and the justice system is going to come after you. Even if it's going to take 7 years, just like Omotoso, they're not going to give up. And I think that's a very strong message that is going to go across the country.
And Pastor Solomon, I mean, you speak a lot about Omotoso playing delaying tactics here with the courts. I mean, it's been 7 years, and of course, we're now seeing this matter get underway. Do you think that the state has a strong case in this regard?
I feel so. I feel strongly that the state rather has a strong case. I personally have been involved with the state. There was a couple of years ago, I think about 6 years ago, they picked me up from Johannesburg, went to Port Elizabeth, met some of the Hawks members and have to give my statement because I was very familiar with the case and knew some of the victims. And I feel the delay tactics in itself was all because they are very much aware that with the witnesses that they have, with the case that the state has really put together, once you go on trial and from the beginning to the end, chances are he's definitely going to be sentenced. But you want to do whatever it takes to avoid that. So that's why we saw the delay tactics, asking the court to dismiss it, asking telling the court this trial has not really been fair for him, and all of that also just so they could psychologically and traumatize some of these victims and get people to give up and just so he would be able to get away with it. So I really strongly feel that the state has a strong case. I feel, I must commend the girls that have stood in and stayed in there. Just a few of them, because he has committed so many atrocities that just 1-2 girls with a very strong testimonies would really get him behind bars.
And tomorrow, when the case resumes, what can we expect in court?
Obviously, we're moving to a next stage now where we're going to see the defense now has to counteract the testimonies of the state and the witnesses that are coming together. I'm not sure Omotoso with Zukiswa and the other girl, the 3 of them, I'm not sure what they're really going to present or who they're going to bring forward, but we'd expect that they're obviously going to go dig deep in and bring in maybe 1 or 2 experts in 1 or 2 areas, just to question the testimonies of the girls, and also to be able to bring maybe former church members or people who are familiar with 1 or 2 of the girls to sort of like discredit them. So we're going to see some of this in the next 2 weeks. We're going to see some of this drama, around that in court.
All right, Pastor Solomon, thank you so much for your time this evening. That is Pastor Solomon Izang. He is a Christian activist as well as a journalist, just giving us an insight there when it comes to what we can expect that will be played out tomorrow in court when Pastor Timothy Omotoso heads back in the dock.